What's up, my friends? Thursday. We had a interesting slate last night. We've got another interesting slate tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern for all things NBA DFS. Of course, we've got some Thursday night football. Hopefully today, what this stream does, continues to review all the 20 max series, 20 max strategies. We're going to look at lineup study here using Fantasy Cruncher. And by the way, if you ever wanted to use Fantasy Cruncher, all of our members, our monthly members, get $20 to use on FC Monthly, meaning you sign up today, $29.99 to teamreservefall.com. You get all of our content, all of our website tools and cores and player pools and picks and strategies and all sorts of things we have. I mean, it is a ridiculous amount of stuff. And I'm not talking just NBA. We're talking NFL, NASCAR, PGA, all the sports that are here. You get it all. It's very affordable. It's a lot of value. And then on top of that, you get access to Fantasy Cruncher, which we're going to be using today. We use every day on this stream. So give it a look. You guys can get the hookup and you get $20 to use here every single month. Not just like a one-time sign up. No, you get it every month. That's $240 per year. So we are on day, I don't know, was this day 4 of the 20 Max series? So we've been reviewing the 20 Max, trying to figure out what the pros are doing and what type of trends we can identify that have been going well, not been going well. And we've identified a few things coming into this day so far on Thursday. And before we continue, I just want to say what's up, chat. I see you all popping off. I'm just being super focused today, and I want to dive right in. But I do appreciate you. I do appreciate y'all there. Basically free with the voucher. Yeah, I mean, honestly, in some ways, shapes, or form, you can use that $20 voucher towards like even just if you're doing NBA, right? On FC, I mean, everything becomes free, either our site or their site, depending how you look at it. It's pretty dope. All right, so let's continue. Let's move on. Now, using lineup study, which is kind of how we research the slate. We look at what happened, and then after, we're going to use lineup rewind. We're going to try to emulate the things that we saw through the successful 20 max crunches last night, try to emulate the success and replicate it in some way, shape, or form in a 20 max series for ourselves. And that's basically how I love to use lineup study. You research, you figure out what happened, what went right, what went wrong, and then try to emulate it using lineup rewind. So let's get to it. We're going to do that right now. I see chat, man. You guys are really cool. Just chatting with each other. I saw Discord this morning popping off. You guys are having some really good conversations. So a few of the things that we have seen recently over the last 3 days for the 20 Max series of some of the people who have been incredibly successful. We are seeing, number one, you're not seeing outright fades of like the top, 5 to 10 highly owned players. You're not seeing player pools above like 30 or so. It comes and goes here and there. We'll see one with like 35, 40. But most of them are like 25 to 30 players. And then you're usually seeing just about 2 players, about 70 to 80% or higher. And the rest of the pool is a lot lower than that, meaning a lot of people in the 20 max are likely rolling out 3 uniques. And then when you're doing like your 150 max, I think you could probably go 1 or 2 uniques. We've kind of identified that this week as well. Now, looking at last night's lineup study, it was actually the most I've seen where we had outright fades of some of these higher owned players. So we've been looking at like the top 10 or so, and we rarely are seeing like this, like a guy like Terrence Mann just completely faded outright. Lou Dort being completely faded. Right here, we've got a fade on Marcus Morris, a fade on Joker, a fade on Hero. That's something we haven't really seen. I mean, when we go back and look at these other slates on the November 30th, 29th, 28th, and the previous ones we looked at, they were like more like this one. And by the way, this is the person who won. So the first fade they had, outright fade, was Terrence Mann, meaning, honestly, these super highly owned players each and every night, it's okay. It's okay. The guy won with his 3 highest exposures last night on the highest owned player, the second highest owned player, and the third highest owned player. And in fact, if you look at this person, Jay Saad, who took first place, literally his 3 highest exposures were to the 3 highest owned players, and all he did was go overweight for every single one of them. So however, 47% of all lineups rostered Chimizi Me Too, and he had 60%. He just went overweight. And we see this out of a lot of our winners. They're not really undercutting, and they're not really locking him in, but they're more or less just saying, that's a really optimal play. I'm just going to go overweight there. And it comes down to you having to figure out exactly who is good chalk and who is bad chalk. And we've said this a few times before. These players that are cheap, Me Too was like what, 4.7? Oh no, goodness gracious. He was 3.8. He was getting solid minutes. We're talking 24, 21 plus for 10 games. He's returning solid value in a lot of these games. Coming off a game where he played 36 minutes against the Lakers, against the Clippers last night, and he returned 23 points. Did pretty well, 6.1. Reggie Jackson faltered and didn't even matter. My man Jason here had 80% exposure to him, and he still won the tournament. Dwayne Dedman was 37% owned. He basically almost doubled the field and outright won it. So, and look, all 5 of these people that we looked at inside the top 10 results, look at all 5 and look at their exposures. The 3 highest owned players, did they get cute? Did they get cute? No. All 5 of them had more than the field on the highest owned. Me Too. All 5 of them had more than the field on Reggie Jackson. All 5 of them had more than the field on Dwayne Dedman. Outside of those guys, well, look what happens. Now it starts to spread out a bit. And in fact, this guy over here, he ended up being overweight on the top 7 projected owned players. And he did fine. He absolutely smashed. Where's his name? Right here. $692 profit last night, $80 invested. That's pretty dope. That's a good return. 14 lineups cashed out. Did very well. Now let's go look at their lineup pools, their pools. We want to see how many players they had, okay? I added a few extras here just so we can see. Here it was, Carabelle. All right. So exposure's way overweight, top 3. The studs, Joker and Giannis, look at this, 60 and 55, which means there was a couple lineups here, a few lineups where they probably overlapped and they were both in the same exact lineup. There's only 20 lineups. 23 of them had these 2 in them. At least 3 of the lineups had both. Jeff, that's probably a good series to do next week. Now, honestly, now that you bring up a question like that, like we've done a lot of 150 max focus. This week is 20 max focus. Maybe next week we should do some single entry. How you feel about that? I think that'll be pretty dope. That just exploded on my screen. The heck? I'm obsessed with these seltzers from Wegmans. That thing just exploded. I don't know if you guys could even hear that on my mic. Oh, my screen is all jacked up. Gosh. Yeah, let's do it next week. I love that. This is Draftkings, brother. Over here, you can see the DK. Up here, Draftkings. I do all my lineup study through DK. All right, so player pool size. Let's look at it. So we got the 2 high studs are in there, all 3 value plays, all 3 of us highest owned. We got 5. It's about 25 or 26 that fill up the screen. So we're looking at like 28 players, 27 players. So that comes in line with what I said. About 28-ish players seems to be the beautiful spot there. And then how many players? About 2 to 3 over 70, 80%. Well, he had 3 over 80%. Literally falls in line with the trend that we're seeing for virtually all the top 10 to 15 placing people who do 20 max. You get 2 or 3 guys over 70, 80%. You get about 28-ish, about 26, 28, 30, somewhere in there, total players. And this is identical to what that was. I started off the stream talking about it, and there it was. Let's see if we can do it again. All right, we have 2 players over 80%. Okay, 100% on these 2. 5. Okay, so we have 20. And then this one is 33 players. So a little bit bigger, but we have the standard 2 guys over 80, 33 players. We have 1 guy over 70. All right, a couple barely missed 65, 60. And player pool size-wise, very large, about 40, 39, 40. 2 players over 80%. 32 players. These are rough estimates. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 players over 70%. We have 5, 10, 17 players. I mean, this person literally just made a pool. They made a small pool and let it rip. He or she. 1 player over 70. Couple narrowly missed the 70% mark. A large pool. Really spread it out. Oh, my goodness. 43. Just about 43 for the winner. So now we're going to go back on a rewind. Hey, appreciate that, man. You guys are the best. Yeah, no problem. Jay Brown. Driving, be careful. All right. All right, so let's look at last night's 20 max. Just raw crunch. Just see what happens. We know we don't really do this for DraftKings. It's very difficult. There's too much eligibility, position eligibility to do something like this. You're going to lose virtually every single night if you just try to raw crunch. Ain't it? All right, so the few things we've been implementing here. 3 uniques is one of the first things we do. And you can see it already did better. Look at that. So 3 uniques, raw crunch last night. All right, minus 11. All right, a couple other things we usually do. Let's see how many people we had over. 3 people over 80%. That's pretty darn good. That's pretty darn good. Oh, hold up. Josh Hart's in there. He didn't even play. Let's remove him. This is the problem with going raw crunch here without editing your pool. Well, look at that. It looks like we're going to make a little profit. So last night, actually, you profited. If you went raw, teamreservefall.com projections in there, 20 max, 3 uniques, you crunch and you win money last night. That's pretty hard to do. What's the cash line here? 267. So in fact, the optimal last night was a 268, which cashed out. So had you just crunched a single lineup, your optimal is a 268. If you're a single entry player, a little bit of cash last night. Okay. All right. So let's see if we can make this better. Now look at actually, there's not much I do different. Look at this. 29 players used. Oh, look at that. So what are our metrics? About 2 to 3 over 70 to 80%. All right. Well, we've got 4 guys over 75. All right. How many players? I said about 28. Well, look at this. 29. And you profited. Did you win it? No. But you put yourself in position to compete. And that's what you're trying to do each and every night. A couple other things I'd look at potentially doing. Something like this. Do a group. And we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, not Eric Gordon. I'll remove him. I'm adding all the 10K players. At most 1. Let's see. Does this change anything? Maybe it was a night not to pay down. Not to play those 7K, 6K players. Yeah, I guess we didn't really have any like massive pop-offs, did we? In that 6K range or so. It was the studs and duds. It was Giannis and Deadman night, right? Me too. Met too. Whatever. Let's see. What else can we look at here? I mean, Levert's a guy you just kind of stay off of until he shows you some life, in my opinion. Remove this group. I had him at 20% last night. I mean, that simple little change, just capping. So this is 3 uniques. This is raw crunching, 3 uniques, and all I did was cap the one value play, the one volatile value. Let me find our projected values. All right, so let's look at them right now. Here's your values from last night. Here's some volatile value to me. Like, I'm not trying to be on some of these guys. Like Marcus Morris, Trey Mann. I even wrote in he played the minutes, took the shots and everything. But like, that's volatile value, right? Marcus Morris, similar volatile value. So we've talked about this in the past. Like, if you're already eating this type of value, do you need other value plays? Do you need these guys? Remove the volatile values to see if it changes. Hey, look at that. Profit. Shoot. What did I do? Volatile value, volatile value, volatile value. Super volatile. It continues to pop. Removed them. That's it. Where'd the exposure go instead? It gave us a little bit more Bledsoe, who did not do well. Gave us some Duarte. Didn't do well. We're still at 100% of these two, Deadman and Me Too. Gave us a little bit of Huerta, who scored 29, 4.4K. That's nothing special. Nothing spectacular happened. It's not like it did anything different. It just got off a couple of those players by a few percentage points. Probably 5 or 6 lineups changed, and that was just enough to get a little bit higher score and make a little profit. And then same thing. I mean, we got 4 guys over 70%. Player pool used 31. You know, if that's too many to you and you want to go down a little bit, go to 2 uniques. Probably 28, 29 players at this point. Let's see. 29. It used 29. $21 profit. You go 1 unique, it's going to probably be 25 players, 26. And you probably aren't going to win money because it looks like you need that third or 25 players, called that. And you lost $3. Again, 20 maxes. 20 max is a 3-player thing. And watch this. You want to see the difference? So now we're going to bring up the mini max. Again, I've talked about this in the past. The mini max, I'm not doing 3 uniques because I'm going to show you the difference real quick. And I could be wrong based on last night's slate, but more often than not, in this mini max, man, I want 1. I want 1 unique. I want a tight core. I'm not looking for 4 or 5 players at 90%, but yeah, I want like 4 or 5 guys over 60. Yeah, Jay Sean definitely popped off. I mean, it helped because of the injuries, but can I try 7 uniques? Listen, fam, the fact that you're playing on FanDuel is probably why you're getting profit. I mean, we've covered that ad nauseum for a month. FanDuel, literally take the projections, upload them. You could throw 1, 2 uniques on that nickel contest, and most likely you're gonna make a little money. It's hard to not. You actually have to tweak so much that you lose money. I'm not even joking. We're talking like 3 years of doing this. Just upload it and go. Draftkings, as you can see, you have to have some type of process to make this stuff work. Yeah, I mean, I understand. I understand why, too. I let him in my life last night, too, but I kept him at 20%. I took 4th place on the $12 on Yahoo, and I took 5th place on DraftKings in the 5, I think, for tiers or one of those. I can't remember. And all I do for everything I play, I remove volatile value that I'm not into that night, and I cap guys like Levert. I don't take people out outright most of the time, but I will cap them. Same thing I show here on stream daily. I don't do anything special or secret. I'm not into that. Having that link in here if you want to check out the ROF site. Got some changes coming to the site too. I think some of you guys are really, really going to like it. Get that $20 credit to FC. So I had a conversation this morning with Dave actually, and I was talking about one of the things we're going to be doing here. So a lot of sites are out there giving they'll give you like an article, right? They'll give you an article at like 9 a.m. and it's totally irrelevant in DFS by the time lock comes around. And I had a conversation. I'm like, Dave, like those FC cheat sheets are pretty dope. That gives us an opportunity to give out like a very small indicator of where the ratings that we have are sending you, not even just projections, because again, projections will change. They will change based on value and all sorts of things. So our goal is to just be like, hey, using our model, here are the players with the top rating at each position, right? And like here's a small pool that looks at top ratings that are under 20% projected ownership. Here are the top 3 ratings at each position under 20% owned. Something like that. And we're going to do stuff like that so that we can kind of help people out with giving themselves like a map, maybe a compass for the slate, because packing your bag at 9 a.m., not knowing what you're supposed to bring on your trip is the dumbest thing ever. And that's honestly what like an NBA article is, unless it's written at like 6 p.m. What article? An NBA article? They're everywhere. They're awful. They're so pointless. They're so pointless. And people are using NBA articles to freaking make lineups. It's awful. All right, let's go one unique. There's types of articles that would be fine, but like a picks article, come on. All right, now we're going one unique, and let's see the difference. So 3 uniques last night. Had you done 3 uniques in the mini max, you made money, 61, using our projections. Here's one unique. We'll see how it changes. Oh, whoa. Yeah. Link me. I'll go find it. NBA, content, articles. Yeah, so I don't remember what his metric was, what he's doing. I don't know if it was like, here's the top 3 ratings at each position, under 20% owned, something like that. But it gives you a baseline so that you can understand, like, where are we going tonight? Where should we be playing? Things like that, right? So as a team, we're going to start pumping these out, and we're honestly going to do them for virtually all sports to give people, like, just some type of baseline knowledge on the slate, kind of tell you where our ratings are telling you to go. Hey, check this out. So 1 unique last night made a little money. 3 uniques did better. 3 uniques gave us that one runner, that one lineup that took off. But I mean, shoot, he made money no matter what. That's good. And again, all I did was remove the volatile value. All right. Well, Mitch, I don't know how to identify it. All right. Well, then do this. You use our projection model, our simulation model on the study hub, and then you see those guys who are lower probabilities, and instead of removing them, maybe you don't feel confident, you just cap them. I don't know, 20%, 10%. I didn't remove anybody this time. All they did was cap them. Let's see how it goes. I'm actually going to put it back to 3 uniques since we had success there. And like, where would you get this information? Let me show you. This gorgeous, super helpful study hub. You know what you also could do? I was just thinking about it. Okay, so the rise and fall percentage is the probability based on our model that a player hits 5.5x. So like here's your strong model plays right here. Okay. You put them in a group, you say use at least 2. Come over to the sim model. You sort 5x, you grab the top 20, say use at least 3. Whatever. Excuse me, something like that. Then you take those low probability plays. Okay. Even if they're a significant value, because you'll see that. Like here's guys that are, look at green, that's top 20% value. Here's Zach Levine here. Levine, 4.73 value. Okay. Very solid. His 5X is the 38%. Is he the same type of value as some of the other guys? No. So maybe last night, instead of even capping these guys, maybe you don't even cap the volatile value. Maybe you throw them into a group. You utilize the FC groups feature. You go to groups, you create a group, and you grab those players who are supreme values, but who are volatile, so that maybe you don't feel confident in removing them, but you take this group of volatile producers and you throw them in a pool and you say at most 1. So doing it the other way with 20% cap, you profited a little bit, $6. Here's making a group and saying at most 1. We'll see. Just trying to give you guys ideas. Remember, DraftKings takes some tweaking. You got to move some puzzle pieces around. You can't just like dump it on the table and it forms itself. On FanDuel, you can. You can do that most nights and come out okay in the nickel, probably in the quarter. I mean, since they moved it from 150 to 20 max, that kind of sucks a bit, but. Now I'm into the 150 max stuff. I know I was supposed to only do 20 max, but you know how this goes. We get going and I want to go down the rabbit hole a bit. I can't help myself. I like the idea of grouping these players that are volatile. I do. I wonder if we'll get that one running lineup. So like looking at the study hub tonight, you know, how could you identify this? Well, first off, you're going to have to use these buttons. All right, let me show you. So you click value. Here's the filter and sort. You click this little arrow. We're going to click number of filters greater than, let's go 5.5. Okay, maybe that's too high. Clear value. Let's go value higher than 5x. How does that sound? 5. Okay. Here's your pool. Here's all your players with a value over 5. And then maybe we want the rise percentage greater than 40. So you do 0.4. Okay. Here are the players on the slate tonight for FanDuel. Over a 5 value and have over a 40% chance of hitting 5.5x. You want to take this one step further? Maybe this is for a tournament. Now we're going to custom number filter under the FanDuel ownership less than, and I want them to be less than 15% owned. So 0.15. Check it out. There you go. You've got a smaller pool of players, and you can maybe take this pool, upload them into FC. All right. You just upload them into FC and say, and put them in a group and say, use at least 2, use at least 3, use it at least 1, right? Based on the model, these are some of the best values with the best probability of 5x and also under 15% owned. Is that helpful? Does this help people? This has to, right? You want to see something else? Make this super easy. This is my cheat code column, whatever. So these names, by the way, I just highlight and copy. I pasted right here, and then I'm going to go like this. I'm going to give each of them a 1. Why? You'll see in a second. I'll upload projection. Now watch this. So here's cheat code. I'm going to sort. I'm removing my entire player pool. I'm going to grab these guys. Okay, this is my only pool. And how did I do that? Because I gave that column a 1, it allowed me to sort. If I didn't give them a numerical value, I can't sort. All right, go to advanced options. You make your group, create a new group. Here they all are. Okay, you click this actions arrow, add all players to group, use whatever, at least 2, at least 5. I don't care. You come back here, add everyone back in your pool. You know, there you go. You can make an optimal. And look, it used 1, 2 guys because I said at least 2. All right. If I said use at least 3. So every single lineup will have at least 3. Now there's the 3. That's Cameron Johnson, Emmanuel Quickly, Isaiah Stewart. So inside the study hub, you have the ability to do so much to make really, really interesting plays and picks and pools. And then you toss them into the advanced options groups, and you can put together like some really sick player pools to do some really cool things. Like maybe you want guys that are over a 40% chance of hitting their 6X as well, on top of the other things that we were sorting. And then you realize it's only Cameron Johnson and Emmanuel Quickly tonight. Well, then you know what? Maybe it's just those two. And you want to make sure that every single lineup has at least one of them. Every single lineup either has Cameron Johnson or Emmanuel Quickly in it. Every lineup, at least one of these guys. Why? Because when you did your research, you realized that you wanted to sort players over 5X. You wanted all players here listed to have over a 40% chance of hitting 5.5X. You wanted players under 15% projected ownership. And on top of that, you wanted people over 6X greater than a 40% chance of hitting 6X. And you made a tiny pool, and maybe that's your process every day. You don't pick and choose what to do daily to make your pool. This is your process. You do this and you realize, oh, okay, every single day, I'm going to do those 4 columns, the value, the probability, the rise percentage, the probability of hitting 5X, ownership under 15, and then you want the 2 highest players in that group over that can hit 6X. And you say, those are the 2, those are the 3. If it's 5 players, and you say at least 1 out of that group of 5, whatever it is, you make your own process. I'm not saying this is a successful process. I have no clue. But I gave you an example of how to use the Study Hub and then throw it up in there into Fantasy Cruncher and to try to make money. Think you're onto something. I've been doing something similar using rise percentage and ownership to determine a leverage score for a high rise percentage player. It's been testing well. Yeah, I mean, basically, what he's saying is like you would sort by rise, all right, and you've got all players, here are the best players over whatever, 40% chance of hitting 5.5X. And then you only want these players who are, less than 10% owned. Here's 4. There's only 4 tonight. There's 4 players over a 40% chance of hitting 5X, less than 10% owned on FanDuel. Here are your 4. That's your small pool on FanDuel. And you say, use at least 2, use at most 2, use exactly 2, use at least 3. I don't know, whatever it is. FC and ROF are made for each other. And the Study Hub, here it is. I was just showing this, by the way. And the Study Hub is perfect to put this stuff right up into Fantasy Cruncher because I've got my small pool now. These are players that have the best probability of hitting 5X, under 10% owned. And there we go. I take that tiny list, I upload them, I assign a value, I go from there. And if you're playing on DraftKings, you better be doing stuff like this because it is extremely hard to win without focusing a little bit on being a little bit unique. Grab this, grab all of it, get your $20 to FC, get your player pools, your cores, everything that's made perfectly for mobile optimization for all you mobile builders, single entry players, cash game, MME, 20 max, whatever it is, we got you. FC's got you. We're going to support you in your FC journey. I love y'all. I appreciate you being here today. I'm out. Hit that like button on your way out and fire off any questions in chat. We'd love to help you out in any way, shape, or form, whether you're an FC member, an ROF member, or just someone in our community. Honestly, we're here to help you. We want people to be successful in this space. Okay? I'll see you in the inside, my friends.